Father Mitchell here. I wanted to take a moment to cut a video to share with you some of my favorite mistakes that have happened along the way in this effort to be able to live cast the Mass. My first favorite mistake is not having the equipment I need, or having it but not in the time that I needed it. And so I show up on site and I'm missing a cable. I show up on site and I forgot to bring the cell phone adapter, the thing that actually holds the cell phone onto the tripod. I show up on site and I forgot the computer. I show up on site and I have the computer, have the equipment, but I don't have my hard drive that has the picture that I want to use for an overlay. And so having the equipment you need, when you need it, for what you need it, key. Second favorite mistake is starting a recording in portrait mode and then moving it over to landscape. So when you hit record and it's vertical and you turn it on its side, or you think it's on its side, but it hasn't internally switched to it, and so you think it's recording in landscape mode, and it's actually recording in portrait mode the entire time, which you find out after you've viewed the recording. So set your phone the direction it needs to be, then hit after a second or so that it's certainly switched, then hit record and continue to record in that way. Next favorite mistake, being in landscape mode only to realize that the rotation lock is enabled on your phone. So you're hitting record and you think it's recording in landscape mode, and it's actually recording in portrait mode because, or displaying in portrait mode because of the rotation lock being on. This is especially important with Facebook Live. I started it, turned it on its side, and the whole image turned. Well, then when I hit rotation lock, worked just like that. Next favorite mistake, not having the internet signal I thought I would. The Wi-Fi router is either just too far away, or the signal is just weak enough that it won't quite carry the signal. Or the signal is just weak enough that what it does is it hops on a nearby Wi-Fi network and it actually jumps ship and moves to a weaker signal. So that happened to me just today, where I was connected to one signal, it started to get weak, my computer automatically jumped to the other one, which was much weaker, and as a result, I lost the feed. So, important, have one clear Wi-Fi network, make sure it has a strong enough upload speed, and then if you're connected to any nearby networks, forget those networks on your computer so that it doesn't jump ship midstream. Next favorite mistake, buying a product I thought I needed, only to realize that I didn't. This happened when I thought, well, if I want to get good at this, I'm going to have to buy Apple. And I make the switch only to find out, you know what? You can go a lot faster in a Honda Civic you can drive than in a Lamborghini that you can't drive. And so if you're familiar with Windows, start there. If you're familiar with Apples, start there. But don't try to switch to one product thinking that you need to use that product, especially if you're unfamiliar with it. Next favorite mistake, not having an on-site moderator of the audio and visual. So if your stream goes, goofy midstream, somebody to reconnect it. If your audio signals are off, somebody to adjust it and kind of give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If my video is off and I've actually switched to the wrong feed on open broadcasting software, somebody to just go ahead and switch that along the way. Somebody to make the transitions and the overlays. Now, we're in the middle of the pandemic, coronavirus pandemic, so it makes sense that I'm doing it on my own a little bit, but not having that extra person, bit of a mistake. Next favorite mistake, not shutting off my notifications when not putting Do Not Disturb mode on, and not putting on airplane mode and be sure to turn off the Wi-Fi signal. Otherwise, you might actually get a push notification, whether it's from your Google Voice account or your actual cellular account or an email. And so hitting the Do Not Disturb on your phone and then making sure all notifications are turned off so it doesn't either appear on your screen, which appears on the stream screen, or so that it doesn't disrupt the recording and end the recording for whatever reason. My next favorite mistake, thinking the image that's on my phone is the one that's broadcasting on OBS. Just because you can see the picture on your phone while it's capturing the video doesn't mean that that's the very image that OBS is casting out at that time. And so being able to distinguish between what is casting versus what is on deck. My next favorite mistake, and this one's probably my favorite, is not realizing that it's the difficulty of being your own story creator, storyteller, and story editor. So there's what you're going to say or do, there's doing it, and then there's editing it in such a way so that it's very presentable to the people. Odds are you're probably very good at one of these things, but not the other. You might be good at 2 out of the 3, but not all 3. Maybe you're great at all 3. I'm not great at the third. Editing is not my forte, thus the very simple video that you see here today. But being able to ask for help when you need help in the areas in which you need it. My next favorite mistake is not allowing yourself the time that you need to be able to do what you must. And so you say, you know what, if everything goes well, it's only going to take 20 minutes to set up the whole scene. Allow yourself 25. Allow yourself 30. I've allowed myself an hour, and I've run into new mistakes along the way. Maybe it was a weak internet signal, whatever it might be. And so allow yourself sufficient time. Don't fall into the mistake of thinking, oh, everything's just going to go according to plan, because inevitably you'll probably run into one problem that needs troubleshooting at every single shoot. And my last favorite mistake for today is panicking. Panicking. When you're down to the wire, you're coming up to the casting time, you've scheduled it for Facebook, you scheduled it for YouTube Live, and you need to connect that stream, and the deadline comes and you haven't started it yet. And so you begin to panic and your heart begins to flutter, and you say, why am I even doing this? This is the worst. No, don't panic, because if it takes a little more time, it takes a little more time. Fortunately, your viewers, most of them are very understanding and will be able to weather that storm. But the question is, can you? And so don't panic, problem solve. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little video today of some of my favorite mistakes that I've made along the way. I'll continue to upload videos like this that talk about some of the little problem-solving measures I've had to take to move from failure to success. It's been my experience that we all want to be successful. This is sort of a middle-of-the-road method that I've taken that's been a little cheap, a little easy, but I think overall a real success. God bless you, and good luck.